in Chesterfield County at Southern Eights Farm in the heart of the Carolinas.
That's right, Blair. We're going to be spending an exciting afternoon with Brad Turley.
He'll be telling us about his upcoming event, and we'll also be talking with Bev Warner, the barn manager, and she'll be showing us a jump or two.
So come right along with us for an exciting afternoon. Joining me now is Brad Turley, and we're up here in Chesterfield County at Southern Eights Farm in the heart of the Carolinas. That's what you say, right, Brad?
We are the heart of the Carolinas, right in the center of both states.
Well, Southern Eights, that's a very unique name. Can you tell me how that name come about?
Yeah, I have a farm in Connecticut. The address is 70 Route 80. So I was sitting there one night saying, well, geez, what can I call my farm? 70 over 80, 7/8. And I thought, well, geez, it's not quite finished. The farm's never finished, so I'll call it 7/8 Farms. And I wasn't quite sure if I should do that, and I was married at the time. And my ex-wife says then, she says, you can't call a farm a number. I said, really? She says, really? I think 7/8 Farms fits. So when we moved down here, someone said to me, they says, what are you going to call your farm? I says, geez, I don't know. They says, well, why don't you call it Southern Eights? So that's how we got the name Southern Eights. It was all because of 70 Route 80 in Connecticut. But just like up here, just like down here is up there, work's never done.
Well, how'd you end up in Chesterfield County?
Well, a rug salesman up in Connecticut, Tommy Simgen. He had bought land down here in Cheraw.
A rug salesman?
A rug salesman. Okay. He's probably watching this. I'll have to make sure he sees this. But I have this rug salesman, and he says to me, we're talking about retiring, and I said, well, a lot of people buy land in Vermont. I said, I think I'd rather go south. I didn't want to go to Florida, too hot. Been in Georgia, didn't jazz me. Always liked South Carolina, just only been here a few times. So he says, there's this pretty little town called Cheraw. He says, it's, really nice, good place. So I look at it on the map and I realize it's, about an hour, hour and a half outside of Charlotte. I travel quite a bit. So I bought a place in Cheraw, ended up having it for a month or so. And then I get a call from his fellow Calvin Davis, who you met earlier. And he says, I got some land, I have some horses on it, it's the prettiest piece you'd ever see. Got it for sale. I said, really? I said, I just bought a farm. He said, it's not like this farm. So I said, all right, let me look at it. So on our way, Patty and I drove up, on the way back to the airport, and it's 20 minutes closer to the airport. Drove by, and he showed us everything except the cemetery. And we found out about that the morning we closed. But he promises that he showed it to us. So we own the land and a cemetery.
Well, he pulled a rug out from under you, didn't he?
He did a Calvin.
Well, let me tell you, how did you get involved with horses? I understand you got involved with horses kind of a little bit later in life, like I did.
Yeah, daughter. I guess I was 40. My daughter was riding at the time, and I saw her going off on a few trail rides with people, and I thought, I don't have any hobbies. I was just getting the business off the ground, working 7 days a week, and I didn't have any hobbies or anything to do. So I said, well, that'd be a good hobby. So I went and bought an off-the-track thoroughbred named Shoeless Joe Jackson. And I rode him for about 8 or 9 years, 10 years. Learned how to ride a little bit. And then when I was 50, I met up with this a woman, and she told me she'd give me some lessons if they could use my indoor. And I took some lessons, and she says, what do you want to do with your horse? I said, well, I'd like to do jumping over logs and walls and stuff. I think that's pretty neat. I had done a couple of 100 paces. And she says, well, to do that, you have to event. That's what they call eventing. And I said, well, I like that. So I started taking lessons, and then I found that I had to do the dressage thing, and one thing led to another, and ended up down here trying to create an eventing playground. The property was laid out really for the long format and for the support teams that the riders bring with them. So the riders leave from directly in front of a barn, where the guest barn is down at the other end of the property. Their support team will come right up here in this corner right over here. Their support team will be with them when they come off of A. They'll be there to help them when they go on the steeplechase. As soon as they come off the steeplechase, they'll help them adjust their saddles, check their horses, check their hooves, check their shoes. They go back out again The team will help them again when they come in the 10-minute box. The team basically takes care of the horse. The rider just takes care of themselves, of course watching for the horse. And then they're there. So what we try to do in this facility is we have our dressage rings, our show jumps, our steeplechase, our roads and tracks, and all of our cross country, all are centrally located about this hold area, like I said, right over there, so that so when the support team comes, they only have to move their buckets and their ice and everything else one time. The rider basically comes in, rides out, comes back, rides out, comes in. So we've tried to have a layout just for that. Now the dressage ring, which is a little further north on here on the top part of the farm, they don't need as much, so they basically would ride up there, and it's at the opposite end. But everything else we try to keep centrally located, just so that not only the horse and rider, but that the volunteer teams who help the horse and riders, and that the spectators could have one area where they get to see all the action.
Well, Brad, I'm going to quote a line from a country western song. A little less talk, a lot more action. I think that's what folks are going to see here in a few minutes. We're going to get on the horses and ride and see the place and show them what Southern Eights is all about.
Fantastic.
Very good interview. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Hey guys, behind me is an oak tree from Clyde Mills House in Ruby, South Carolina that is about to be turned into a beautiful carving sculpture. And Brad wanted me to ask, if you can guess what this is going to be, then you will win a Horsetails hat. So if you go to horsetailstv.com and let us know what you think it's going to be, you will win a hat. And I'll give you one hint, there's an animal involved. That brings us to your tack tip of the day.
Hi folks, I'm Mark Hosman with your tack tip of the day. Today we're going to talk about a piece of equipment that a lot of people use. Many people use leather to attach their ropes, whips, or any other things that you're going to use when you're out working to their saddle. I prefer to use a piece of bicycle inner tube rubber, which I take and cut about 12 to 14 inches long, tie around the pommel of my saddle and just tie a square knot, wrap it around like that. I tie it a little bit loose like this, so when I have a whip or a rope, I put it right through here, flip that over my saddle horn, and anytime I want it, it's easily accessible and it doesn't bounce while I'm riding. Piece of cake, everybody can afford one. You got an old bicycle inner tube laying around the barn, cut you out some thin strips, twist it, tie it in a knot, and there's your tack tip of the day.
Hey, I'm Michelle Woodward, 8th grade science teacher at Chesterfield Ruby Middle Schools. Stay tuned for more Horsetails.
I'm here with Bev Warner, who is barn manager here at Southern Eights Farm. And Bev, what brought you down here to South Carolina?
Well, the job with Brad here at Southern Eights. I was living and working in Vermont at the time, and Brad and I met through a job site, and sounded like an exciting venture to be a part of. So down I came.
South Carolina's a lot different, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, on a daily basis, what is your job here at Southern Eights?
Well, primarily I manage Brad and Patty's private barn with their horses and take care of their horses. But I also am here to help promote Southern Eights Farm for the amateur riders. So getting out to other functions and talking to people. We did 3 months of schooling, cross-country schooling sessions this spring, January, February, March. So I do the correspondence and connecting with people for that.
All right. And y'all focus on amateur training here, right?
Yes, that's the focus because that's what Brad did. And it's so important to him to keep the long format alive in eventing. But we certainly have young riders coming, riding with their instructors, and we do have many professional riders who come and school their young horses here. So it's a multi-use facility, but we definitely want to make sure to hang on to that idea of encouraging us, the general basic riders, to be out here and having fun.
And so you grew up doing dressage and eventing and all of that?
Well, I grew up doing a little bit of everything, but I did most of my riding. I did all my competing in Area 2, which is Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, and I had a farm there. I actually had a layup and surgical recovery business there, so that was great. I got horses and fixed their woes and then trained them as sport horses to come out and do this.
So you do a lot of the jumps that are here. What is one of the main things that you focus on when you're about to go over a jump?
Oh, getting on the other side.
Well, that's good. That's a good focus.
Well, and that's exactly right. For the horses, that keeps the horses focused too.
Right.
Doing it on Rotzi is a breeze. He knows what he's doing. And I haven't competed in several years, so he's actually been helping me to get my eye back and my coordination back. So we come out and we play. We just play
together.
Yep.
Speaking of playing, I think y'all have some kids coming in today. Tell me about that.
Yes, we do. They won't be riding today.
Okay.
They're all volunteers. We're getting ready for our 3-day event, and there's so much work to be done. Today we are having a jump painting party. These are the stadium jumps for the last day of the competition, and all the paint needs to be refreshed. So we've got kids coming from all over Chesterfield, I believe Pageland and Chirac as well. And we're going to spend the afternoon painting jumps.
Folks, I'm here horsing around with Arnold, Brad's Belgian warm blood, and that brings us to the vet tip of the day.
Hi, my name's Adam Eichelberger, and I'm a veterinarian with the South Carolina State Veterinarian's Office, and I'm here today with Tebow. I just wanted to talk to you a few things about colic. So colic is a general term for a horse having a bellyache. General signs of colic would be maybe your horse is not eating. Maybe your horse goes over to a hay bale, smells it, and then looks at his belly and acts like he's aching. More severe signs of colic would be a horse out in the field rolling. You go out there to get the horse up and it immediately goes back down and rolls again. Other signs of colic would be something like potentially the horse, having that constipated appearance, just kind of maybe even trying to look like he's going to actually try to use the bathroom. Some horses will posture actually whenever their belly aches like they're trying to use the bathroom. So like I say, just a few things that a horse being abnormal are some of the signs of colic. Colic can be caused from anything as far as the weather change, to the food changing, to drinking less water, to it freezing overnight. Weather change may cause a horse to do something abnormal, therefore they don't consume the food that they normally would or drink as much, and so therefore all this gut inside of them, they have about 120 or more feet of intestine inside of them, and goes from their stomach to their small intestine to their cecum to their large colon and out back. And they have a lot of gut in there that can kind of get messed up, whether it's constipated or blocked, or whether it's displaced, or whether it's actually twisted a little bit. So things to watch for if you suspect your horse is colicking is if it develops into something more severe and the horse is not resolving it with time. And if you have any questions, you can contact me at the State Veterinarian's Office.
Well, Brad, I was asking you a question. What do you call them? Jumps? You said no obstacles. So we're getting ready to approach one. Tell me about this one.
Well, this one here is a log, and this would be for a beginner novice rider. This would be the lowest jump. When you look at these jumps, you'll notice that all of them are pinned to the ground, so they can't be moved. The horses have to, they will not fall over. I mean, you can see they're all staked to the ground. They're all set up to the specifications that the U.S. Eventing Association sets up in conjunction with the U.S. Equestrian Association, which is kind of the parent organization of all the horse things. Our eventers here at our levels will jump anywhere between 15 and 20 jumps on a cross-country part. And it's pretty, it's pretty kind of scientific how it's all set up. They really try to test the horse, and it allows you to move from level to level. There's 3 levels: beginner, novice, which I think the jumps are 2 feet 7. There is novice, which is 2 feet 11, and there's training, which is 3 feet 3. So whether it's the jumps on cross country or the jumps in the show ring, they're all measured and leveled and very specific how they're set up.
Well, let's mosey on along and check some more jumps out.
Okay.
Well, we just come through. Tell us about the jumps we just rode by here.
Well, if you notice, the last one we had was a log. It happened to be a piece of, I think it was ash or hickory that we brought down from Connecticut. And it was a log, it was a lower level. That jump back there was probably 2 feet 7. This one here, although the jump itself measures 3 foot 3, it can go up to 3 foot 9 because of the brush. This is a brush jump. It used to be a steeplechase jump till we got some new ones. This brush here was imported from England, and it's some of the same brush that they use at the Charlotte steeplechase. It's called Fresnel brush. Now, the 2 jumps here that you see are in a combination, and this is another test. So this question here is, can you get your horse to do this? And they should do this in 3 strides. So they'll be galloping along, they'll land, 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd stride, they'll take off about 6 feet out. The base of that jump's about 8 feet right there. And they're all measured, as I said, they're all measured, they're all set up. And if you notice, even these jumps probably weigh 1,500 pounds, 2,000 pounds, and we still tie them down. If you notice the stakes on the front.
All right, Brad, tell me the distance on this course.
Well, this course here, the training level, which is the highest level that we'll run in the next few weeks, it's a little over a mile, probably 1.25 miles. There are 2 other levels, and they'll be, the lower level will run just about a mile, and 1.10 miles, I think, 1.1 miles. Come on, Arnold, you got to get over. Now, as you notice, we just came down a big hill, and we're coming back up a hill. This jump here doesn't look like much, but it sits on top of a hill. So when a horse is running up, remember, they can't quite see in front of them, so it gets closer and closer. When they jump this, they're just jumping into blue sky. They've got to trust you that there's going to be something safe for them to land on the other side, and that's this question. As I said back there, it's a combination. Whoa! It's a combination of different parts. The hill, this log, and jumping down a hill is all considered a question. Much like a combination of 2 jumps would be a question. Or jumping a log into the water and through the water. Not only do they have to jump the log, you have to get them out of the water. That would be the question. So the course is comprised of multiple questions, and each question could be comprised of multiple jumps.
Well, folks, as you see, Simpson was getting kind of pumped up. I think he was thinking the old cowboy was going to try that jump, but I don't think we're quite ready for prime time, Simpson. Folks, stay tuned for some more exciting horse tales from Southern Eights Farm in beautiful Chesterfield County. All right, Brad, we really appreciate you showing us around. We're getting ready to approach one of these beautiful carvings here. Can you tell us a little bit about the guy that does these carvings?
Yeah, this fellow's name is Randy Bonney. He's out of Tennessee, originally out of Pennsylvania. And he does all of this with a chainsaw. I met him off the web. Interesting fact about him, he was legally blind with cataracts, genetic cataracts, until he was 35. And he started carving. He and his brother have been carving now. They put on a big carving rendezvous every year in Pennsylvania for something like 200 carvers. They bring them in, the whole town puts them up. And so he comes in 1 week a month, and that's what he does. That jump right there, that carving, came from my surveyor's mother's house in her backyard down in a church right behind Ruby. It's all South Carolina. And he came in, he carved it in a week and painted it in another 4 days. So that's about probably 10 days of effort right there. Wow. And that would not be a jump because of the way that little bunny sticks up in the middle. But that would be the size of a jump of an advanced level horse like Rotzi. When he was in his prime, that's the size of jump that they would jump.
Joining me now is Bev, and I hear you have a horse tale for me.
Oh, well, David was asking me about how I got involved in horses, and I was 10 years old, had just moved out of the suburbs to the country with my family, and just loved horses. Mm-hmm. So I would stuff all my pockets with apples and carrots, anything I could raid from the fridge, and get on my bicycle and ride the country roads for hours looking for horses. And if they'd come near, I'd give them treats. Oh. Ended up meeting a gal who was out riding her horse one afternoon, and she invited me back to her barn and let me help her take care of it, let me start riding him. And that was the beginning. Then I started taking riding lessons, but that's how it all began.
And the rest is history. Yeah. Now you're out here doing jumps and doing this every day.
Yes, I am.
Dad, I can describe today in one word: beautiful. Southern Eights Farm is truly beautiful, and we actually had a perfect day today.
We really did, Blair. We're standing here next to a beautiful carving by Randall Bonney. He's just awesome what he can do with a chainsaw and a paintbrush.
That's right. And guys, don't forget that there is an old oak tree that you need to guess what it's going to be. So check out our website, horsetalestv.com, and let us know, and you can win yourself a Horsetails hat.
And a special thanks to Doug's Harley Davidson and the South Carolina Horses Council for being one of our sponsors.
And I'd like to thank Brad Turley and also Bev Warner for showing us around today. And guys, don't forget, visit our website and also check us out on Facebook. We'd love to hear your ideas about any upcoming shows. And we're now on Twitter.
That's right, folks. Until next week, keep your reins low and your hands quiet.
See you next week.